Here are some primers that you may need for your project. The first one is a PVA. It's a polyvinyl acrylic. This is meant to seal new drywall, new texture, new mud and spackle marks. It's great for that. If you were to paint over those areas without priming it with something first, the paint will soak into those areas because they're so porous, and it will cause that paint to dry flatter than the surrounding area. So use some kind, at least a PVA. If not, a paint and primer in one. You could use this as your first coat of a primer if you'd like to do that. I personally am a fan of the PVA first, but if you have a paint and primer, then go ahead and use that. This is an Enamel Undercoat primer. I like, and it's a water-based product. I like the water-based better than the oils just because of the environmental issues and because of the cleanup issues. This will work great over bare wood. Don't use the PVA over bare wood. You want to use an undercoat over bare wood. And then I'll use this to go over once I've sanded all my spackle on my trim, I will use this. This I use for the walls, this I will use for the trim. Now you have these stain blocking primers. This is an oil-based one. If you have crayon marks or smoke residue on the walls, or you need a primer that will stop something from bleeding through, like surfactants or tannin bleeds from cedar, I really recommend using an oil-based product. Even though it's not super environmentally safe, the water-based products just don't seem to work as well. I find that if you do use a water-based stain blocking primer, that I allow it to dry for 24 hours because that seems to let whatever you're trying to cover come into the primer, and then the primer dries and they dry together and it works a little bit better sometimes. So if you're having a real hard time stopping something from coming through your paint, you're probably gonna have to switch to an oil. It also comes in a shellac. They both stink, but the shellac dries really fast, but recommended for stuff like that, okay?